Playing championship playoff football for a long time, okay? For weeks and weeks. We just gotta keep continuing to find a way.
Everybody contributed to this win, okay? And we got some players in here that are starting to realize what they can do, okay? We had some guys that make it to the game. Again, I'm proud to be your coach, okay? But we got a long way to go. Dixie, break it.
Hey, I love you boys. That's way to fight and come in here with that mindset, all right? Hey, we all we got! We all we need! Gang on three, 1, 2, 3! Gang!
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. And speaking of happy, those locker rooms, Jacksonville, Carolina, and New England all celebrating after massive, massive wins. Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher, Connor Rogers.
It reminded me of the green room before the show. And honestly, after the show, after we just go out there and we just absolutely crush it.
Yeah.
Right?
When's
like
that?
Seriously, I can't tell you how many times I turned to Connor and Jay, like, you know, we all we got.
We all we need?
Thank you. It's usually better than that, but yeah, you get the idea.
I save it for the green room.
Yeah, of course.
I can't waste it out here
of course
in front of the camera and mic'd
the
up.
Panthers made that cut up. Yes. What do you mean you've been playing championship playoff football for a week? To be fair, they beat the Rams. I'll pay that.
They beat the Rams.
The Bucs just aren't particularly
I feel
good.
like
Oh, you'll see him again in 2 weeks.
I'm so I mean, Baker and Mike Evans are going to cost me a Dynasty League championship, which I'm very bitter about. That was tough. You know me, I love Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. Love Mike Evans.
I'm old enough to remember when Baker
tough.
Mayfield was the MVP favorite.
That's right.
Yeah, 5 weeks into the
Doesn't feel
season.
that long ago, but
What the hell?
Yeah.
Come on back, Liam Cohen. All's forgiven. Oh,
Yeah.
my God.
It's just not, they're just not very good. They're just
No.
not a very good team.
No, they're bad.
Yeah.
Well, the defense is now falling apart.
Defense is
and
falling
they don't
apart,
have
and the offense
answers.
it's not all world enough.
Yeah.
Mecca Buka doesn't even play anymore. Like, doesn't know what's going on in
It
Tampa.
took a while to even see him
Yeah.
in the game.
Todd Bowles blinked 3 different times. Like, that's how angry he is.
But here's the problem. Bowles went all out in the press conference after
Right,
the loss to Atlanta, and then they show up like that. It's not like they played awful. I think they embarrassed themselves yesterday, but you got to beat
expected
Carolina.
more.
Yeah, disappointing.
You expected more. I feel like yesterday it was literally the tale of two halves, if you were, or like the haves versus the have-nots. I feel like every fantasy player either went off and just had this monster day, or they just completely sucked. You know what I mean? From a fantasy football point of view, right? It was just like, oh my God, I've got 27 points from this guy, or like I've got 4.
Chase Brown did what?
Wait, exactly.
Javonte Williams did what?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Chase
Wait a
Brown was
minute.
great.
I'm sorry. Is this number for Josh Allen correct? You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute. Jackson Dart did what?
Right.
I mean, anyway, it's very, very tough. Medici says, Barry, I had Lamar in all 3 of my leagues, and now I'm out of all 3 leagues. So I'm just here for the vibes, Nemo pitches, and movie spoilers. That's pretty much
real
the
regular.
show.
That's a real regular right there.
That is. There you
Not
go.
going anywhere.
You guys missed the commercial taping we did. That's why I'm dressed in all black like John Wick. It's not for the Colts funeral tonight. It's for the commercial that we did. But in that commercial, I spoiled the end of Godfather 2. Fredo dies on the boat.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I plan on watching that during the holiday break.
Yeah, with the family. Yeah, Godfather Part 2. Yeah.
It's a real family flick for everybody.
Yeah.
We got your Weekend Warriors. We have your Sunday Scaries that we already teased, and the Monday Night Football preview for Old Man Rivers against the 49ers. But before we get into any of that, let's get into the recaps with the Rotoworld Player news. And we start with last night's game, New England, Baltimore. The big stories coming out of this game was the injuries, but from a fantasy perspective, it's Stefon Diggs scoring 20-plus fantasy points for the second time this season, Matthew.
Yeah, on benches everywhere, by the way. No one started him.
That's right.
No, there was more yards and points that he'd had in the previous 3 games combined. Drake Miggs. I mean, like, in his prior 3 games, he'd had a 57% route participation. And this one, he gets an 80% route participation. In games in which he sees 7 or more targets, he averages almost 18 fantasy points per game. But when he sees 5 or fewer targets, it's just 7. Like, he's not a big touchdown guy. He needs the volume.
Yep.
They were obviously very pass-heavy last night. And Diggsy went off, but 10 targets, 9 for 138. He was awesome. It's just like, where's this been?
Yeah.
All season long.
They finally needed it.
Yeah, I mean,
first 300-yard game of Drake May's career.
He was on my bench in my this Superflex Dynasty League, which I will talk about throughout the show. And I'm very bitter about. I had Mike Evans and Amon-Ra St. Brown starting over him, which seemed right at the time.
Right, the OPI heard around the world.
Yeah. This Patriots offense, it's a great argument against democracy.
Yes.
Because everyone gets a voice in this offense, and it's really annoying. I don't think we need the Democratic offense. I don't understand why Diggs just hasn't had a more voluminous season, because he's clearly still got it. And he seems to just step up in these big primetime games, goes off against the Bills that first Sunday night game, torched the Jets that Thursday night game, goes off last night's Sunday football. Is somebody just saving him in reserve for when they're on primetime? It's very odd.
They just take him off the field a lot.
Yeah.
And last night, finally, they didn't. He had the 80% route participation, which was his third most this year. But the problem leading up to it, Jay, is like, Diggs ran 52% of the routes. Diggs ran 50. Maybe they're
He was
managing.
bad. He's been bad for like a month.
The thing is, when he's on the field, he's good. It's just in fantasy, volume is king. And he is not.
Yeah.
Not even the land of the one-eyed man. You haven't used that one.
The one-eyed man is king in the land of the blind.
In the land of the
Obviously.
blind. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is
There
king.
it is.
Yeah, of course.
I missed that one this year. It's a
Stuntman
good one.
Chuck 85, Jay advocating for communism. That's what I'm here for. I believe Shane Falco in The Replacements was also advocating for communism in his own type of way.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the great films.
Yeah.
Better than Godfather Part 2.
Honestly, that's why Jay came from Australia to America.
Yes. Yeah, communist land, Australia.
Communist land. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Australia was originally part of the Eastern Bloc. People don't know this.
By the way,
coming over to bring your propaganda to the States.
Another comment for you from shirtless Ben Johnson. Fredo was weak and stupid.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's why he had to go on said boat.
There's nothing wrong with the death. It was a correct move.
Yeah, circle.
In terms
of
power of the family.
Yeah, Mike Corleone, you got the job done.
Got the job done. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody who got the job done, Drake May yesterday. Is he not the favorite for the MVP? I haven't checked the odds this morning, but
no, it's Stafford's minus 215 at DraftKings, which I think. Look, Drake May was phenomenal last night, and the Patriots only have 3 losses on the season. I think Stafford is still going to win the award. The stats are just so overwhelming. I think if Stafford takes care of business, beats Atlanta on Monday Night Football, I think he will win MVP. But if he loses that game or has a bad showing, then Drake May is clearly the guy who will rise up now after Josh Allen. Josh Allen 6.9 fantasy points yesterday. He didn't really do anything. Didn't assert himself in that conversation. So I think it's May versus Stafford. I think Stafford has the edge for now.
Third straight 20-point game and 8th this season. It's tied for the second most 20-point games behind Matthew Stafford. It's been unbelievable. By the way, my 2 quarterbacks in the League of Assholes, Matthew Stafford, Drake May.
Also,
I'm absolutely crushing in this week in the loser bracket.
You have Derrick Henry, you have Chase Brown.
Yeah.
You're complaining about your team being garbage. You got the 2. What do you mean? You got all these superstars.
They all started slow.
The ninth place game?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
That's exactly right.
Good time for everybody to show up.
Yeah, exactly. It's so annoying. So annoying. That's how everyone felt with Ashton Jeanty as well. Like,
my God.
There's
a lot of those.
I think
we'll get to that.
a lot of people are going to have the same emotion that I have of yesterday, where my team went berserk in the fantasy semis in our league. So I have Jaylen Warren, I had JSN previously, Brock Bauer. My team was going to put up almost 200 points. I had DJ Moore earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, I've wasted all these good games because I'm going to beat Steven by 100 points or something. Didn't need this. I need this Jaylen Warren game next week in the final.
And that's what's going to happen. It's just
because my team's not that good. It's a little banged up, Herbert.
This is a weird fantasy season.
I mean, they're all weird, but this one is super
particularly
weird.
strange.
Super, super weird. The only takeaway I can say from the Patriots, and again, and Travion Henderson gets banged up in this game, so it looks like next week it might be all Ramondre. We'll see. Hopefully he can make it back. But, and whatever. Hunter Henry, another guy that has done nothing, and all of a sudden then Hunter Henry touches a touchdown. It just feels like I don't know that you feel great about Stefon Diggs moving forward. Now, they do play the Jets next week, so, maybe all hands on deck.
He might not need to throw.
That's the problem, right?
Right.
And so this was Drake May's first 300-yard passing game of the season. And so, you're starting Drake May no matter what. And I think you're starting, especially if Trayvon Henderson's out, you're starting Ramondre next week. I don't know that you feel great about any of the pass catchers, even though Diggs is coming off the big game. Henry had the touchdown, just because, to your point,
democracy reigns in New England.
Democracy reigns in New England.
In the Commonwealth.
Say that. Right, exactly. It's a little bit too much. There's just too many voices, unfortunately.
The good news on the Ravens side, if there's any, Derrick Henry has his most rushing yards since week 1. The bad news is, after about 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter, we never saw him again.
It was like a kind of old school NBA tanking move where like all the starters come out in the fourth quarter. It's like, why are the Raptors pulling all their players? But the Ravens needed to win this game to stay alive in the division. So I have no idea why Henry, particularly on the final drive, why it was the Keaton Mitchell show.
It was malpractice for coaching. I don't understand it unless they felt like they needed the explosiveness of Mitchell because they felt like they were in game script, and maybe just because the only thing I can think of is that with Huntley back there, that whatever, who the hell knows? But maybe they felt like, hey, Huntley's back there. We don't really like we're going to load the box. We're not really scared about Tyler Huntley. So they felt like having Mitchell in there versus Henry gave them more outs, right? As opposed to like if Henry's back, if they've got Huntley on our center and Henry's in the backfield, New England knows, all right, well, they're just going to try to run and let's just stack the box. So maybe with Mitchell in there, maybe there's a dump off. You've got more sort of space. I don't know. It was.
The issue is,
but I'm trying to defend something that I think is semi-indefensible.
Harbaugh after the game pretty much regretted it.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't think you have to defend anything.
Collinsworth called it out on the broadcast too. There was one early down play action play with Keaton Mitchell as the back. I'm sorry, that's just got to be Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has more gravity on a first down play action call. So yeah, very strange.
This is how bad it was, because if regulars, you guys remember, Jay Croucher was talking about how Keaton Mitchell's better than Derrick Henry.
Exactly.
At the beginning of the end.
Yeah,
right.
But last night made me reevaluate that stance.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ryan Oswald, not even the excuseler can find an excuse of why Henry was out.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's when you know it's a wrong decision.
I wonder I think he probably will, but I know there are people calling for Harbaugh's head at the end of the season.
It might just be a fresh start for both sides kind of thing.
Yeah.
Harbaugh will have a new head coaching job elsewhere, and the Ravens maybe look for a fresh start.
Yeah.
I mean, they're one of the most disappointing teams in the entire NFL season. There's no way around it, injuries or not.
Yeah. I mean, Lamar missed time, but he missed 3 games. Like, they should be it's not like the Steelers have run away with this division, and now the Steelers are very likely going to win the division. They're minus 1,000.
This is a bad loss. Obviously tough to lose Lamar. I now need I'm in the finals of a guillotine league, and Lamar was my quarterback, so I now need somehow need Jonathan Taylor to outscore Chris McCaffrey and George Kittle tonight to win this guillotine league.
Seems improbable, but possible.
Seems unlikely. But if Lamar had just gotten me, a normal game, I win this league going away.
Well, you want some more positive news?
Yes, sir.
The streets are saying that all your Sunday Night Football bets cashed last night.
Oh, wow,
this is true.
Look at this.
This is true.
The Rotoworld streets.
Yeah, the parlay cash I had an outline with Henry with the rushing yards. I had an anytime touchdown for Derrick Henry, and of course Drake May to do 270 passing and rushing yards combined. So that all cashed, along with my Barry's bet, which was just the over on Drake May passing. That obviously easy cash. It's now 5 in a row for Barry's bet.
Whoa!
Wow.
Parlays are tough, obviously. That's why the odds are so high on the parlays, because they're less likely to win. But the Barry's bet is always what I sort of judge myself on, and so we've been hot lately. So 5 in a row for the Barry's bet. I also picked the Patriots to win.
Oh,
Jason
wow.
Garrett picked the Ravens. The reason I bring that up is because as me and Jason Garrett, we keep track of, all the people on Football Night in America. We keep track of our game picks. Jason won it last year. I won it 2 years ago, and so it's Jason.
Battle of the Titans.
It's just you two every year?
Yeah, what's everyone else doing?
Last year was Jason Garrett. The year before it was Rodney Harrison. The first year I was in, I finished second to Rodney last year, I believe, and then the first year I was here, I won it. So I got a shot at winning it again. Jason and I are now tied heading into week 17.
There's a lot of people who make picks. It's strange that it would come down to 2 guys 3 out of the 4 years.
Right.
But that's all right.
There you go.
Let's have
I
the
don't know.
gift.
I know what to tell you.
It's like Josh Allen and Mahomes.
Yeah. That's often compared like that. But anyway, it was a good night. Good night at the office for the betting. Thanks to everyone who tailed me as well. I don't know that there's a real takeaway here from the Ravens side of the ball either, other than it was nice to see Zay Flowers not nice because I was playing against him and I just needed that. They give up a rushing touchdown. You're like, dude, killing me. But Zay Flowers was fantastic.
Yeah. Also, good luck setting a line for Packers-Ravens next week on Saturday night.
Jordan Love in the concussion protocol. Malik Willis dealing with an injury. Shoulder injury.
Doesn't sound optimistic at the moment.
Yeah. Packers are minus 2.5 right now, which again is just complete guesswork.
Yeah. I don't even know who the third string Packers quarterback is. Do you?
Let's look at their
roster. Was Sean Clifford. But he's not on the team anymore.
No, they cut him.
Yeah.
Their third-string quarterback. It would have to be down to the practice squad. He's not on the active roster.
Yeah. Is it Don Majowski? Is it
Clayton Tune.
Clayton
wow.
Tune.
I remember Clayton Tune.
Yeah, former Arizona Cardinal great Clayton Tune.
Man, that is a Lodicon, Clayton Tune, Brady Cook. The guys that are starting next week are.
Welcome to the NFL.
Oh, this is.
I reckon if the Colts lose and Anthony Richardson's fit, you bring Phil Rivers over to Packers.
Phil Rivers is going to be a hot free agent.
I know. He might be in demand.
in the offseason as well.
All right. Our next game.
Do we have to talk about this one?
Steelers-Lions, one of the most. We will talk about the insane ending, but obviously the storyline from the scoring is the running backs in this that are on the Steelers, not the Lions. Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell both heading into Monday Night Football as top 10 running backs in fantasy, and Aaron Rodgers was pumping up how great his backfield is.
We have a quote from Aaron Rodgers. What a surprise.
Well, they got a good skill set, both of them. I mean, they're both really good runners. They're elusive. But I got to give those guys a lot of credit. Kenny's been unbelievable in the passing game, just unbelievable. And he's so damn smart. I mean, I was telling him I wish I played with him for 10 years just because the kind of player that he is. Like, you just love playing with that guy. And then Jaylen is as sweet as they come, and he's such a decisive runner as well.
You always want to hear that about a running back, as sweet as they come.
And a good runner. That was the opening quote. What do you think of the running backs? He's
but
a good
honestly,
runner.
the way he was talking about Kenneth Gainwell, you understand why he's been on the field so much. Connor, you and I talked about this summer about how
in camp they were so excited about him.
How much Kenneth Gainwell was going to play, and you guys are everyone that's drafting Caleb Johnson in the middle rounds is going to be annoyed at how much. We haven't heard Caleb Johnson.
Who's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Jonnu Smith gets more carries, literally.
It's unbelievable. Why did I have to be so smart on Kenneth Gainwell? That Dynasty League guy. I was playing Daniel Dopp, my dear friend Daniel Dopp, who I miss. Still my friend, but I miss working with him. Yeah.
Nothing happened to
Did
Daniel.
he pass yesterday?
My dear friend that I miss.
I miss him so. And heavenly. No, I mean, obviously, no. I mean, whatever. We grabbed lunch like 6 weeks ago. No, I mean.
And he was alive.
He's still alive. Yes.
Still
we were texting this morning. So, no. My dear friend, Daniel Dopp, who I miss working with, is probably a better way to put it with. But anyway, yeah, I mean, he had Kenneth Gainwell. I'm like, oh, that catch was just ridiculous. But since week 11, Kenneth Gainwell, was on the – I wish I wasn't right about this one. He was on the love list because, again, he was playing against me. But since week 11, he's the 8th best running back in fantasy. He's now had 16 or more fantasy points in 5 of his past 6 games with a 21% target share over that stretch. You hear Aaron Rodgers talk about just how smart he is, how much he likes him in the passing game. Again, the way Aaron Rodgers is, you don't get on the field unless Aaron trusts you. And the fact that he trusts him and he trusts him in the passing game means none of this is a fluke. And you can continue using Gainwell next week and if you play in week 18 as well.
Yeah. Rodgers has had such a strange season. He's had games like the Chargers game on Sunday Night Football. He looked atrocious.
It looked like the end.
And now, the past couple of weeks, particularly yesterday, he's flinging it 50 yards down the field in the air. He's taking deep shots. He's, he's always had the accuracy. He's still got the cannon arm. He can't move as much, obviously, so he's not the same guy. But he has had these moments. And the main thing to me about yesterday, Conor, was what the hell's going on with Detroit's run defense? Just a complete catastrophe.
I mean, they were blown off the ball by the Steelers' offensive line.
All the run fits were comically off.
Yeah. Some of the Jaylen Warren runs were is anybody near this gap?
Yeah. I mean, Jaylen Warren got the same workload as he always does. He just broke the 2 long runs. So just to point that out, it's not like there's some sort of another thing. I said this on the Football Night in America pod where we talked about this, which is just a crazy stat. Yesterday, the Steelers had 230 rushing yards. The Lions had 15.
Yeah. So
now, some of that's game script dependent, obviously, because they were trailing. But you have Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery, and you have 15 yards rushing. I get it. The Steelers have a good run defense, and the Lions line super banged up. I think they were on their 3rd-string center by the end of the game.
Yeah,
but
their
still,
interior's in bad shape.
But still, 15 yards rushing. That's just that's not good.
Yeah.
That's bad. Hashtag analysis.
You mentioned the idea of malpractice with Harbaugh and not putting Henry back in. The real coaching malpractice yesterday was just the entire final sequence for the Lions. That final drive, they had no idea what they were doing with the clock. They were rushing to score with a minute left. It's like, guys, if you score, Pittsburgh get the ball back and they're doing whatever they want. Like, you need to run this down. And then you get 1st and goal from the 1 with 45 seconds left. If you just run the ball 4 times up the middle, your season is alive and you're going to make the playoffs. You're actively making the choice to end your season. Yeah. Why are you running a pick play, a pass play, on 1st and goal at the 1 when you have Jameer Gibbs? Just run the ball up the middle 4 times.
Right.
Like, it's just completely insane the way all of that went down. They didn't seem to know what they were doing the whole time. And now their seasons are basically over as a result.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was awful. That's one of the things we talked about on the Football Night in America pod, which is available on YouTube. I'm a company man, NFL and NBC YouTube channel. But we talked about the fact that they missed Ben Johnson, they missed Aaron Glenn. Obviously, they've been beat up on both sides of the ball, but, like, they just got completely out-muscled.
Yeah.
The Steelers put up like 450 yards of offense in this game. Like the Steelers.
What, the Steelers ran for 230 and the Lions ran for what, like 20, like not even
15.
15.
Lions ran for 15. That's right. That's my point.
And the yards before contact for Jameer Gibbs, he ran 7 times. The average, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage, -1 yard. Yards before contact, every run.
Yeah, that play at the end was just awful. And by the way, like again, but that Dynasty League, I have both Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that was like a 12-point swing. You know, not getting the touchdown pass plus the reception.
I'm just 1st and goal at the 1. Do you know how hard it is to stop a QB sneak 4 times in a row? Like, it's just not going to happen. Just sneak the ball for a yard. It's very,
and the things that can go wrong on any drop back.
They're at Minnesota next week. I don't think there's any change from all the Detroit guys. Just a bad day at the office. The only last thing I want to say here on this game is a question for you, Connor. You know how we talk about this players coming back from injury. Like, they're week 7. Oh, he's finally fully healthy. He was coming back from that injury or whatever it is and that kind of stuff. Do you think Aaron Rodgers, because to your point, Jay, he has played really well the last couple of weeks. Is he finally got the Jets out of his system? That's what it is?
He flushed it.
He's finally flushed it.
Maybe.
He was in the building for 2 years and it just sort of seeps in and at some point you just have to kind of get it out of you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That could be it.
That's what it finally
I'm not really buying into the deep playoff run of the Steelers, but there's no denying he's playing a lot better.
Yeah, he is playing much. I mean, Flacco is the same deal, right? The year that he left.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a great infrastructure. Team hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years.
Sam Darnold right now.
Yeah.
Geno for a little bit.
You just wait. Yeah. Brady Cook next year. It's coming.
Yeah.
The explosion.
Buy the Brady Cook stock now while you can.
It's unbelievable.
All right, our next game, guys. Maybe
you guys are gonna win next week and screw yourselves out of Mendoza. That's just gonna happen.
Buffalo will rest everyone week 18. That's the game.
That's the game.
We won't win against a trying New England team.
It's fair.
Don't be crazy.
But you guys will win a game before the season's up. Week 18, that makes sense. Yes, you guys will blow your chance at Anyway, Kyler Murray. Come on down.
So exciting. Jaguars-Broncos, this game actually was exciting. Trevor Lawrence was amazing in this game. Over 31 fantasy points. Parker Washington continues to get it done through the air. Harvey had the big game as well. But we got to hear from Trevor on this Jacksonville team surging and playing with a chip on their shoulder.
You can't just show up and win games in this league. You got to prepare the right way, and you got to have that edge and that mindset come Sunday. And I think that's something our team does a really good job of, is playing with that chip on your shoulder and that edge and attacking people and getting after them. And I think that's something that's been huge for us.
Will this team get respect in the UK?
No, I hope not, honestly. I hope we don't get any. So everybody out there, just keep it up. It's great. So, it was a big game and just proud of the guys. It was fun.
This is the Trevor Lawrence we've been waiting for.
Yeah.
These last 3 games look like the guy that was one of the more hyped up #1 overall picks in quite some time.
Most fantasy points by a quarterback against the Broncos this entire year. Kudos to everyone out there that had the guts to start him. You're like, it's one thing to put up 6 against the Jets, but now he's on the road at Denver. And as you see it there, as we head into Monday Night Football, he's the #1 quarterback in fantasy football. Probably sitting on a lot of people's benches, but hopefully you started him as well. Since week 5, he's the second best quarterback in fantasy, averaging over 22 points per game. Obviously, had the huge game last week as well, but at least there's a floor there, Connor. At least 17 fantasy points in 9 of the past 11 here, and he's spreading it around. He's doing this without Travis Hunter, obviously. Brian Thomas Jr. Jacoby Myers seems like he was doubled a lot.
He fits in that offense great, though.
Yeah. And they signed him to an extension, so he'll be back next year. It'll be interesting what happens with Parker Washington, or do they trade Brian Thomas Jr., who suddenly doesn't seem like he's a fit in Liam Kona's offense?
Yeah, with Travis Hunter coming back, that wouldn't shock me. It's been a weird year for BTJ.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, like Parker Washington, when he gets work, and just again because of Surtain on BTJ and some on Myers, Parker Washington just ate here, 28% target share. It's his career high in both receiving yards and fantasy points as well. But I mean, this is legit. And even if your Colts manage to eke out a win, Jay, they play the Jaguars next week.
Yeah, they'll be clear underdogs in that game, no matter what they do tonight. And so, yeah, the Jags, heavy favorites now in the AFC South. I still think the Bills are probably the best team in the AFC, but I think the Jags, the way that they're playing, have as good an argument for second, along with probably Houston. The Patriots are thereabouts. There's a lot of teams in the mix, but yeah, we have to enliven our minds to the very real possibility that Jacksonville will be in the Super Bowl.
I mean, right,
which is truly bizarre.
We were joking in the war room yesterday about how, because we know we are hosting NBC will have one of the divisional games, and we're like, are we going to be broadcasting the Jacksonville game? Like, am I doing my DraftKings 3 play from the pool? Right?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Jay and I will be at the Jags bar with Steven.
Yeah, of course.
I, for one, welcome our Jags-Panthers Super Bowl in Santa Clara in the first week of February. Those teams are both going to have home playoff games at this point.
Casual Josh, are we trusting Lawrence for the fantasy football championships?
I don't know how you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
he did this against Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I bet you I should have looked this up. I didn't look up the start percentage for him, but I bet you a lot of people did bench him.
Yeah.
I mean, I benched him in a league because I had Goff, as we talked about here.
Consensus, he was like hovering around QB 16 or 15.
Yeah, I mean, like just again on the road at Denver, you didn't expect this, and so it's just he's playing at an unbelievable level. Travis Etienne continues to just get a ton of touches, 20 touches in this game. He's had 15 or more fantasy points in 7 of the last 8 games as well. So Etienne continues to be a locked-in RB1 here, guys. So I mean, I feel like. I don't know that you can trust Brian Thomas Jr. moving forward. No. I'm not worried about Myers moving forward and Parker Washington. Honestly, playing the slot against Indy next week. We'll talk about that as the week goes on. But yeah, I think this is legit. And kudos to, by the way, kudos to producer Steven, a lifelong Jaguars fan. He's the one. A lifelong Jaguars fan who managed to still put this game third in the rundown.
Oh yeah, no, it's bold.
Yeah.
After Jets-Jags somehow cracked the top 4 last week.
Yeah.
Stephen returned to earth. This game could have gone above Lions-Steelers.
Yeah.
It could have
I was
snuck
going to
that
say,
in.
this is kind of a selfless performance from Stephen. Ryan Oswald, congrats, producer Stephen, to you and your Jags. It was a long, long wait for a good team. And props to you for not abandoning Cough, Jay, Cough.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I haven't
do you
abandoned
regret
the
that?
Colts.
Are you because you were a Jags man at one point?
Yeah, and then I watched them for 2 years. And then I was done. Trevor Lawrence was terrible the first half of this season.
Right.
He's been amazing ever since, and he's playing at the best he's ever played in his life. But no, I'm still a Colts man. I still ride with the Colts in the AFC South, even if it's going to end in pain. I think
it's interesting because we've talked for a long time about Vrabel and McVay for Coach of the Year, and it's probably going to be Vrabel, I would assume.
He's the favorite.
But Liam Cohen's got to be right up there.
I personally think that Coach of the Year will be 2 names they haven't even mentioned yet. And they play each other on Sunday Night Football this week, which is Ben Johnson and Kyle Shanahan.
My vote would be Ben Johnson.
Kyle Shanahan controls his fate for the 1 seed in the NFC. If Kyle Shanahan gets the 1 seed, I'm sorry, that's it. He gets Coach of the Year. That would be just so insane for them to get the 1 seed in that conference. But I think that Ben Johnson with the Bears, I think Ben Johnson has the most juice of everyone.
Yeah.
Just this Bears season is so magical. If they beat the Niners on Sunday Night Football to clinch the NFC North after, what did they win, 4 games last year, then I think that. But there's 5 great candidates, I think. Mike McDonald has been phenomenal.
Which is why I would not bet the favorite right now. Vrabel's plus 100. I don't think that's a good number.
No, I agree with you. But, I mean, Vrabel's done a great job. Liam Cohen's done a great job. Even though that's, again, Steichen's not going to win because of the way the season's ending, but Steichen's done a great job. Yep. Dave Canales.
Dave Canales is, I think, 6th on the board.
Yeah, I mean,
7th maybe?
Keep pounding, Dave Canales.
Look, this
keep pounding.
Loves pounding.
To me, the
he
2
does
bets,
love pounding.
You bet Kyle Shanahan's plus 650. The Niners are plus 375 to get the 1 seed. If he gets the 1 seed, he's going to win that award, I think. And then I think Ben Johnson at plus 450 is also value. I think you ride with those 2 horses, and then one of those horses shall ignite with a win on Sunday Night Football.
What's the better bet, betting on the Niners to win out or betting Kyle Shanahan Coach of the Year? It's probably Shanahan's odds.
Yeah. The Niners are around plus 375 to win out.
Oh, wow. There you go.
There you go as well. I don't know that there's a lot of takeaways. A tough day at the office for Bo Nix. Got you some points, but he did not play well from an NFL perspective as well. But it was nice to see R.J. Harvey, who's had 20 or more fantasy points.
Scores touchdowns. 3
of the last 4 games. That run was unbelievable to score a touchdown there as well. No one's talking about Sean Payton for Coach of the Year, and I don't think he's got a shot. But, the Broncos have, they're what are they, 7-2 in 1-score games, 7-1?
The issue with Sean Payton is Coach of the Year case is team's going to get the 1 seed despite his quarterback. Whereas he's supposed to be this offensive guru, quarterback whisperer. They're doing it a little bit with smoke and mirrors. They're a good team, but they're not. I agree. They're not a 1 seed. No.
Chargers-Cowboys. Chargers keep winning somehow. Really no offensive line. They just find a way to get it done. Justin Herbert, over 30 fantasy points.
Yeah.
George Pickens with a good day for Dallas. But the Chargers pass catchers back on the board here, Matthew. Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey. I thought Amari and Hampton looked awesome yesterday.
Yes.
With the work
he looked like a ride or die, which is awesome, and we liked him as well. He's in all 3 games since returning. He's had at least 15 touches, and in this season, when he's getting at least 15 touches, he's averaging 16 fantasy points per game. The nice thing here is I thought he looked awesome. He's getting the red zone rushes as well. Kamani Vidal gets banged up here, so ride or die. Little bit too late, but when he's been out there, he's been productive. Certainly a better fantasy pick than Ashton Jeanty, despite what happened yesterday. We'll get to him in a second, but it was nice to see QJ have the big game here, and McConkey's always McConkey. But I don't feel great about any of these pass catchers because I feel like you saw Gadsden did nothing. Keenan Allen got had the 1 play, but it could easily be Keenan Allen and Gadsden next week.
That's the problem. There's so many guys.
I feel like he keeps
out there.
Right. Yeah, and Trey Harris looks good. So I feel like McConkey you continue to start. He had 21% target share in this one. But to me, the takeaway is that just Herbert with the rushing, that they were able to do this. Obviously, the schedule helped as well. They play Houston next week.
Yeah. Herbert was only pressured, I believe, on 39% of his dropbacks, which, normally isn't amazing. But for him, that's a phenomenal outcome because he's been pressured above 50% a lot of the time. So if Justin Herbert has time, he's got good receivers. He will find them. But the issue is the schedule, the 2 weeks to conclude, Houston and Denver. Although, Denver's defense, this defense, which is, trumped up as one of the best in the league and statistically has been there, every time they play a good quarterback, they get torched. Every time.
Yeah.
Josh
Jackson,
Allen, Joe Burrow,
too.
Justin Herbert, they all destroyed Lawrence did whatever he wanted yesterday. They feasted on bad teams, and that's how they've accumulated their defensive reputation.
On the Cowboys side, guys, the one glaring note, Javonte Williams, who was on the injury report for a lot of the week, it was a season low in snap rate, Matthew. They couldn't get anything going in the run game.
57% of the snaps, had only 11 touches in this game. It's his first game with fewer than 15 touches since week 8, and that's the problem. Javonte Williams is not really explosive, isn't used in the passing game all that much, so he needs volume, which he needs volume and short yardage stuff to be able to produce fantasy points, and he didn't get either in this game. And so you have to wonder, was it game script? Was it just he wasn't feeling well? He wasn't 100%? Either way, he's running back 44 as we head into Monday Night Football. Here's the good news, though. If you survive until next week, they get Washington next week. Hopefully Williams is better because whoever's the starting running back for the Cowboys is next week will feast against my beloved Commanders.
Yeah. Dak Prescott also, who's had a very good year overall, he is the king of destroying teams in week 17, 18 in meaningless games. He's born to put up 5 touchdowns against the Commanders.
Oh, yeah. No question. It was nice to see George Pickens get up the schneid here for the one.
In this game.
Yeah.
We got a question here from El Segundo. Barry, are we fading our guy Aites next week with the Cowboys eliminated?
Yeah, of course. My buddy Aites, I call him Aites. CeeDee Lamb.
Only his friends.
Only his friends call him that. El Segundo. Maybe El Segundo knows him. We don't know. As well.
Take the under.
I can't imagine fading CeeDee Lamb against Washington next week. But this was tough in a fantasy semifinal where you really needed him. And again, Pickens was the guy that had the big game here.
Here's the thing, too, is even though, the Cowboys are limited, they have nothing to play for, it's week 17. They're still going to be out there, and they're still going to be playing a full complement of snaps. It's an island game on Christmas. It's an occasion. That stuff more happens in week 18 when you have absolutely nothing to play for. But, you saw the Bengals are eliminated. They're still playing their guys, full complements of snaps and everything. So CeeDee Lamb, he'll be fine next week.
I agree.
All right, guys, in the battle for the NFC South, the Panthers beat the Bucs. Don't worry, these two teams play again. The Panthers have a 1-game lead, but they're not favored to win the division over the Bucs, despite that.
No.
And not a ton of fantasy production in this game. Good game for T-Mac, who now leads the Offensive Rookie of the Year race ahead of Tyler Shuck, by the way. He surged up the board. Bryce Young was pretty good in this game. The Bucs offense has fallen apart.
It's brutal. Baker Mayfield's now been under 15 fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 games. Since Week 12, he's quarterback 27 on a points-per-game basis. Since Week 11, he's only had 1 game with multiple touchdown passes. We thought getting a full complement of guys back here, right? Mike Evans, Godwin, Jalen McMillan, along with Emeka Egbuka, that maybe something would unlock for Baker Mayfield. This was a big game. Like Baker, to your point, at one point Baker Mayfield was legitimately in the MVP conversation.
He would have won after 5 weeks.
That's right. And this was a tough game. I love Baker Mayfield's one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's a friend of the show, so I don't want to kill him too much. But this was a tough day at the office for the entire Bucs offense. I don't get it. They didn't really get Mike Evans involved. They tried to he got a quick, cheap touchdown. They gave him 2 targets when they got in close as well, and that was ultimately wound up being the Sean Tucker touchdound that he ran in. Yeah, they were determined to give anyone but Bucky Irving the ball at the goal line. It just, from a fantasy perspective, this is brutal. Now, they play at Miami next week, which is good, but I feel like Bucky Irving and I guess Mike Evans next week, but I can't, abandon ship if anyone survives into next week on this Buccaneers offense. It's a mess.
Yeah, the other issue too is just that the wide receiver breakdown of who are actually out there, it's all over the place. Like Jalen McMillan plays 34 out of the 64 snaps. Egbuka is at 36, Godwin 41, Evans 42. Like there's no hierarchy. They're just all kind of out there 2/3 of the time.
Like New England.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, which is a complete departure from what it was last week, where Chris Godwin was playing like every single snap. So I don't know. This is the thing, is that bad results kind of manifest change more. So next week could be, I've got no idea what it's going to be like next week.
They didn't throw very much. They didn't have the ball very much. But when they were throwing, they did look to Evans a decent amount. Yeah. Like I said, he got 3 end zone targets. He was basically held on the other 2. Like the first one he nailed, and then they gave him 2 chances, couldn't come down with it, and so they just ran it in with Tucker. But
also, for people who are confused about why the Bucs are still favored for the NFC South, it's because of the weird tiebreakers in the division, where basically, unless Carolina beats Seattle and Tampa lose to Quinn Ewers, then that Week 18 is a winner-takes-all game, and that's in Tampa. And Tampa will be like 6-point favorites against Carolina. So unlikely things would need to happen for Carolina to clinch before then. And if it is a winner-takes-all game, as bad as the Bucs have been, they'll still be favorites at home over Carolina.
SEC man asking the important questions. Does this show end next week, or do we just go into full-on Magnolia chat?
It's a good question.
It is a good question, and we have an answer.
Yeah, do we?
Yeah, we don't stop.
Oh, okay, good.
No.
I don't know.
We're not done next week. We're still on the air.
I thought you had a free January.
We're absolutely
You're working January.
So just schedule-wise, that's a good question. So we're here tomorrow. We are off. We're off Christmas Eve and Christmas. The 24th and 25th we will be dark, and then we are back on Friday the 26th.
Right.
And then the next week, I think we're off.
New Year's Day.
We're on every day besides New Year's Day.
Actual New Year's Day. Yeah.
And then after that, we're eventually, and we'll have more details for you. We're not 5 days a week anymore throughout January, but we're still on usually at least 3.
During the playoffs, we'll
3 days a
we'll
week.
recap the games and we'll preview the games in the playoffs. So we'll be on 2-3 times a week during the fantasy playoffs, and then of course Super Bowl week we'll be out in San Francisco on Radio Row doing our show, so Jay can get more pictures that he can crop Connor and I out of. With the superstars of the NFL.
That's
absolutely.
Right. Every single year.
I hope Jonathan Taylor's out there.
Yeah.
Again. I can crop you guys out one more time.
Philip Rivers.
Phil Rivers won't be out.
Yeah. Tyler Warren. All right, let's talk about this.
The old Bengals game?
This Bengals-Dolphins game.
Yeah, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Still good.
Still good. Chase Brown.
Yeah.
What a time for Chase Brown to show up, right, Matthew?
Yeah, 1,000%, right?
For your 9th place matchup.
Damn right. I'm not 10th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks to Chase Brown.
Yeah.
And his 33 fantasy points.
Chase Brown has actually been really good, honestly, over the second half of the week. Since week 8, he's been the 5th best running back in fantasy football, at least 18 fantasy points in 6 of 8 games. Week 7, that was the last time he had a game with fewer than 15 fantasy points. And the other positive is that this was not happening under Jake Browning and the Jake Browning administration. But with Joe Burrow back, he's averaging over 5 receptions a game. They're finally involving him in the passing game, Jay. That's right.
I was just thinking, Jake Browning, was that administration before or after Jimmy Carter?
Yeah. It was after Jimmy Carter, but before the Joe Flacco administration, which we loved as well. So just, locked in RB1 the rest of the way. And they play Arizona at home next week, so that should be a good game for all of your Bengals. Jamar Chase did Jamar Chase things here as well. Miami, what did you think of yours in watching this game?
He was actually better in the first quarter than I expected.
Yep.
And then when it turned into, we need to score 40 points today to match Joe Burrow, it started to fall apart.
Yeah, I will say, he wasn't great, obviously, but it was I think it was 8.7 yards per attempt, didn't take a sack. He still got the ball to Jaylen Waddle for 572.
He wasn't as much of a train wreck as people thought.
Yeah.
In the first half, Waller made some plays for him.
If you are desperate in a super flex league and your quarterbacks are in, you had Daniel Jones or whatever, and you need a quarterback for next week, Quinn Ewers against the Bucs. I'd rather have that than whoever the Chiefs are starting at quarterback against the Broncos. Right?
That one is fair. Super annoying. Devon Achane, unbelievable game, right? 15 for 81. He catches, but it could have been so much of a bigger game. And I feel like we say this every week, right? Yep. He caught a ball that he ran for 40 yards with it, and then there was a holding penalty, and then at the end, they just gave a BS rushing touchdown to Jaylen Wright, which
that's been
give that. Come on, why can't Devon Achane have that as well? So. Mike McDaniel, very frustrating, but it was nice to see Jaylen Waddle actually, have a decent game here, 12 points, his most receiving yards in a game since Week 10.
Let's take a look at the Week 16 injuries we're tracking out of the weekend. Of course, Lamar Jackson leaving Sunday Night Football with a back injury. Jordan Love left early with a concussion. Marcus Mariota left in the third quarter with a hand/quad injury. Gardner Minshew's knee injury did not look good, guys, as did J.J. McCarthy's hand injury where he left the game. A lot of quarterback injuries, good Lord.
Yeah.
Jordan Mason with an ankle. Quinshon Judkins with a serious ankle injury that will end his rookie season. Travion Henderson left the game with what they're calling a head injury. Josh Jacobs with the knee. Romeo Doubs hurt on the onside kicks with a wrist injury.
Tough play for Romeo Doubs.
Really tough play. And with Jacobs, too, he tried to gut it out as well. We'll talk about replacements for all these guys. But, you could see Tyler Huntley, Clayton Tune, Josh Johnson for the Commanders, and whoever the Chiefs have at quarterback. It's going to be interesting next week. We'll be back right after this.
On our side, the fantasy MVP, Matthew Berry, I think it's Jaxson Smith-Njigba.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Look, he's the wide receiver 2 on the season, but more importantly about where he drafted. He drafted like around the 5th round. He's been so consistent as well.
Joe, in the Premier League, I've got a pretty good idea who the MVP is in fantasy, but would you say his name for us?
Erling Haaland, of course, he's just an absolute goal scorer machine. I mean, you want him in your team, he just racks up points galore, breaks records galore. Yeah, 17 goals already this season heading into the festive fixtures, like you said. 4 match weeks for every team in the space of 16 days can really kind of make or break your season.
The Premier League is in a huge stretch this holiday season with the biggest names in the game playing 40 matches in 16 days, including the JSN of soccer, Erling Haaland. Tune into NBC and Peacock to catch all the action and set your fantasy football lineups accordingly. For a chance to win a jersey off our wall, send us your fantasy PL lineups.
Yeah, look at
hashtag
that.
FFHH.
Wow.
That's a beauty. And follow our resident soccer expert, Joe Prince-Wright, for the latest Premier League news and updates as you see the Newcastle jersey on the wall.
That is autographed by everyone on Newcastle.
Yep.
And Jay Croucher. I saw him before
Yeah,
the show.
I stuck my name in there.
Nice way to kill the value.
Yeah, exactly.
I stuck my name right next to Bruno Guimaraes in there. So, yeah, Croucher in there too. Yeah.
Weekend Warriors, Week 16, as you see the running back leaders at the top. Yes, that is Ashton Jeanty.
The worst.
At number
this is
2.
so awful. Of all the frustrating things that happened in fantasy this past weekend, Ashton Jeanty, who has been terrible all year from a fantasy perspective, suddenly having his best game of the year against Houston. First off, teams probably that had him that used a first-round pick, they might not have been in the playoffs, and if they were, they probably benched him. And then you're like, now Jeanty decides to go off against Houston. What are you talking about? Career high in scrimmage yards. He had 188. It's his second best fantasy game of the season. Remember, he had that 3-touchdown game in Week 4 as well. But it's the most rushing yards and fantasy points by running back against Houston. To me, the biggest thing here wasn't about that, which is all frustrating, but it's just like, oh, yeah, that's the guy that got drafted. And so, assuming they get a competent offense around him next year, Jay, he should be awesome again.
Yeah, it was a reminder. I bet a lot on Travis Hunter to win the Heisman last year, so I was cheering against Ashton Jeanty every week, which was an absolutely miserable experience. Just his low center of gravity kind of just unable to get tackled, particularly right at the goal line. Yeah,
shedding tackles left and right.
Yeah. And in a week in which not a lot of people showed up, Connor, Chris Olave did.
Yeah, against the Jets. It was perfect. Caught a touchdown both from Tyler Shuck and Taysom Hill. You'd love to see that just for fun. Chris Olave, by the way here, Matthew, only Jamar Chase has more targets than him this year. He's been a very quiet fantasy stud this year.
He's been unbelievable, and especially he has a nice connection with Tyler Shuck. 7 starts for Shuck so far this season, 28% target share, averaging almost 18 fantasy points per game with Shuck under center. Top 5 among wide receivers in targets and receptions this season, as you mentioned. Only Jamar Chase has in both targets and receptions, I should say.
James Cook, another 100-plus rushing yard day for him, Jay. Over the past 2 seasons, only Jahmyr Gibbs has more touchdowns than James Cook.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, all these superstar running backs. James Cook is likely going to lead the NFL in rushing yards this year. And the touchdowns have not regressed nearly as much as we thought they would.
It's insane. He's had the season that Saquon Barkley had last year. He's still not involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
But he's breaking off these long runs, and he's getting the touchdowns.
And they run a ton.
And they run a ton. 14 total touchdowns this season. Over the last 2 seasons, he's got 32. Only Jahmyr Gibbs has more. It's his 9th game this year with 20 more fantasy points. Only Christian McCaffrey has more. James Cook, again, JSN I think is definitely the fantasy MVP, but James Cook is in the conversation because, again, this was somebody that a lot of people, myself included, faded because we thought there would be regression of the touchdowns. That just hasn't happened.
Harold Fannin, welcome back to Weekend Warriors. Almost 20 points, tight end 1 for Harold Fannin. Good things have been happening for Fannin since Shedeur took over, Matthew.
You know what? By the way, I'm coming around on Shedeur.
Wow.
No, I think he's as we've talked about, he's not as good as some of his most ardent supporters, but he's definitely not as bad as his haters think.
Better than a 5th-round quarterback. The problem is if the Browns picking top 3 right now, might still take one. I don't know what the future is for Shedeur Sanders, but it's good to see him playing some competent football.
Since Week 12, no one has a bigger target share than him, 31%, and he's the 4th best tight end in fantasy since Shedeur took over in Week 12, averaging over 15 fantasy points per game. He got a rushing touchdown in this one. Like, I mean,
Jonnu Smith style.
Jonnu Smith, like they used him in the backfield, I should say. And so, just a great game for Fannin. It feels like whatever they do at quarterback next year, the Browns have found something at the tight end position.
Sunday Scaries, these guys might have sunk you in the fantasy playoffs, starting with Josh Allen, Jay, who, man, ugly game in Cleveland. A lot of ugly games played in Cleveland, but you expect Josh Allen to overcome it, and he really didn't need to.
Yeah, he had to live with the foot issue, came back, hopefully it's nothing. Allen does have these weird kind of games on occasion. He'll have the Superman games, but he also does have these in his bag too, and James Cook was able to do what they needed on the ground. They were able to get a bit conservative in the second half, playing with the lead against an offense they felt they could control. Josh Allen will be fine next week against the Eagles.
0.02 fantasy points, Matthew, for Jaxson.
I don't know why they're playing him.
Zero reason to be out there.
It was they blitzed the hell out of him. 47% of his dropbacks they brought him. He got sacked 5 times. He had negative fantasy points actually as a passer as well. They had no answer. I mean, Brian Flores just completely outcoached Mike Kafka, and they had no answer. I was very frustrated. I had Tyron Tracy in a league. I thought he was going to go off. He got a decent amount of work, but just a bad game for the entire Giants offense. They're at Las Vegas next week, so hope for a better game next week.
A not-so-warm welcome back for Drake London, Jay. Doesn't even get to 6 points.
Yeah, it was a tough scene. Kyle Pitts still got plenty of work. I mean, the Falcons are ending the season fairly respectably, but Drake London, there was some uncertainty coming off the injury. I thought he'd be much, much better than this, but I think you still fire him up next week against the Rams.
It was a weird one, but at least the usage was there. 83% route participation, had a 23% target share. Cousins just missed badly on a couple of ones, and so hopefully next week at home to the Rams, but I still think his talent and usage, you have to continue with Drake London.
In Arizona, both bad games for Marvin Harrison Jr. That doesn't surprise you. The Trey McBride performance does, because he's been so good this year.
Yeah, it's weird. That Higgins, it was just a weird game. Jacoby Brissett, it was the first game that he's been bad since he's became the starter as well. I think it's just, whatever. It was just a low-scoring, bad day at the office for both those guys. I'm throwing it out. Harrison, at least, was out there for 64% of the routes.
In Kansas City, Jay, feels like it's just shutting it down right now. Nothing doing for Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce especially.
Just completely submarine by the quarterback situation. Yeah. You can't start those guys next week against Denver.
No, you cannot. We're taking one more break.
I wonder how Netflix feels about that. They paid a lot of money for that game.
Christmas game?
Christmas game. That's going to be tough. But yeah, Kelce's now had under 2 fantasy points in 2 of the last 3 games.
Last call, our Monday Night Football preview. Niners-Colts right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app, use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
The crown is yours.
Crown might be yours.
It's
no, it's
time
yours.
for the last
now that I look
call.
at it.
Here's the most bet player props. As Jay has alluded to, a lot of these most likely a part of parlays. That's why Brock Purdy passing yards 200 plus tops the board. But Jay, I know you have a better trick up your sleeve.
I do. Christian McCaffrey, over 62.5 rushing yards. Not sure why this number is so low, given that the Niners, their team total is 26.5.
Right.
You tell me the Niners are going to get to 27 points and likely have game script as 5.5-point favorites here. I think CMC should be over 62.5.
What about you, Matthew?
I also think he should be over 39.5 receiving yards. You and I are both on, partially because I need to come back. I need 27 fantasy points from Christian McCaffrey. I need CMC to have the game of his life, which by the way, and because there were so many bad Sunday scares with the Josh Allens of the world, this is why, by the way, CMC and Jonathan Taylor drink free today at the happy hour bar, because we need you guys. We need monster games from Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. So please, you guys drink for free. Go out there, bring us a bunch of fantasy points, give Monday Night Miracles to everyone. But again, I think McCaffrey over 39.5 receiving yards. Same logic you have, Jay, as well. It's a number he has hit in every game but 2 this year.
We're all on the Niners offense. I'm going Juwan Jennings over 4.5 receptions. No Ricky Pearsall. Yeah, George Kittle will be involved, but should be Juwan Jennings as the number 1 option in the pass game. Get to 5 catches. No Sauce Gardner in this game. The Colts secondary without him. I like Juwan Jennings a lot tonight.
Especially Brock Purdy, not going to worry about weather. We don't think the Colts are going to be able to get pressure. When Brock Purdy has a clean pocket, he's pretty good, especially in a game with no weather concerns as well.
All right, that's it for us. But we're back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, we are. We are back tomorrow. Here's some of my top players for tonight. You see, obviously, I've got, you're starting the 2 running backs who drink for free. Purdy's there as well. Can't wait to watch Phillip Rivers in prime time. Always fun. We're rooting for him. Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're starting the 2 tight ends as well, and I agree with you on Jennings. He should be the 1 wide receiver you feel good about here for the Niners.
Yeah, I think the Niners are going to cover 5.5. I don't think that Phil Rivers is keeping up with Brock Purdy.
The fun ends.
Yeah, I think the fun ends. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to go wild.
Will you still be a Colts fan after this
game? I will be.
If they lose?
Yeah, I'm perennially for the shoe. Yeah.
All right.
Forever for the shoe.
Yeah.
All right.
Forever Schumann.
Fair enough. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew Berry. Go get yourself a Monday Night Miracle. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.